What's going on, everybody? We are back in the shop, and today we are starting a cheap Jeep project. So I picked up this Jeep Wrangler from a buddy of mine. It's a 2003, 4, somewhere in there. It's a 2.4 liter four cylinder, so the dual overhead cam one, not the old school one. It's a 5-speed, and the body's actually in pretty good shape. So is the frame. It's got these nasty tube bumpers on it. Anyways, I picked this thing up for $1,000 with a clean title. He actually bought it cheaper than that from a family member, and then he let it sit, wasn't going to do anything with it, so he reached out to me, asked if I wanted it. Obviously, yes. It needs some love, and we're going to start doing that today, so let me show you around this thing, and then I'll tell you the plans with it. Alright, so starting out, the color is phenomenal. It's a color I don't hardly ever see on TJs. It's basically all stock, suspension height, everything, tire size. It's got some tube bumpers that rotted out. This one's not nearly as bad as the front one. So we'll come over here. It's got a little bit of body rust on the fender. That's easy. This cowl piece needs painted. Probably not going to do it since it's a cheap Jeep. The front bumper is horrible. It's holding on real good. But if you take a look underneath, let me go where they normally rot. The frame's actually in pretty good shape. It's just got some surface on it. So that's stuff that can easily be cleaned up. Let's go under the hood here. It's got the latch working, that's good. So here you can see the mighty 2.4 liter dual overhead cam 4-cylinder. This thing is a running driving unit. I bought it out of the field. I put a battery in it and replaced the tensioners, or the tensioner and the idler pulleys, because they were squeaking like crazy, and gave it an oil change. And otherwise, we've just been we used it for about a day down in Virginia, where I got this thing. It makes some engine noise. Honestly, it sounds like it's making some clutch noise or flywheel noise. It sounds like the flywheel's a little bit loose and clattering around, because this thing holds good oil pressure. And if you just let it sit here and idle, it idles quiet. And the clutch engages almost all the way out. This thing has 270,000 miles on it. The clutch engages almost all the way out, so it's due for that service anyways. So that's kind of why we're thinking it's coming from down there. Plus, when you lay underneath it, the clattering sound gets a little bit louder. I'll start it up here in a little bit. But otherwise, this thing runs and drives, which is awesome. The worst part about it, though, is the interior. This thing is disgusting. And I wish you could smell the amount of mice that have lived in this thing over the past few months. And then it's got baking soda all over the carpets. My buddy was trying to get rid of some of the smell and put baking soda in here. So we're going to clean all that out, and we're going to steam clean these seats and try to make this interior not smell like mice for a little while until we can start doing some fun stuff to it. The top, the windows are not in great shape. You can kind of see. This is actually the old half-top window from the black TJ, because this one, we unzipped it one time and the zippers broke on both ends. So this is a reused from my other one that I just replaced. But you can see they're all hazy. And this top has actually shrunk quite a bit. We took it off, and this side kind of fits up okay, putting it back on. But this side, that's as close as we could get it. It just would not stretch forward enough. We couldn't get the leverage on it to push it forward. You can see here, 270,000 miles. And then the last thing, like a lot of TJs that sit, this tailgate is almost a two-handed operation to open and close. And then, of course, we got more baking soda and stuff back here. Flip that up. But yeah, overall, this thing's going to be a cool little project. Today, we're just going to get to cleaning, get all this cleaned up, and then park this thing outside because I got other things to do today. I might pull these two bumpers off just because they're terrible. And then we'll go from there. All right, I did a preliminary vacuum, and then I sprinkled some more, actually odor eliminator on there instead of just baking soda. Letting that sit for a minute. Got the seats pulled out, and I am going to pull this thing outside, pull the carpet out there so I don't get all that junk all over my floor, even though I kind of got a lot of it already. And then I'm going to put all this carpet on my trailer and pressure wash it all. It's actually a nice sunny day out there today, and it's about 54, 55 degrees, so it should be able to dry sitting outside in the sun today, and then we can put this all back together. And then in the meantime, I'll use an extractor on the seats, which are there, there, and there, just to help clean them up a little bit. I was thinking about pulling the covers off of the seats and throwing them in the washing machine. I have a buddy that used to do that, but this seat's pretty torn up. It's ripped right there, and it's got a bunch of rips and folds that you can't really see on the bottom part of it. I mean, this thing does have 270,000 miles on it, so I might start shopping around for some new seats. But in the meantime, I got to pull that plastic console piece up so I can get the carpet out of here and then get this thing pressure washed. All right, and just like that, the interior is about as clean as it's going to get for now. The seats are going to need to be replaced, especially because of, whoa, let me get my hand out of the way. Especially because of how blown out this one is, both there and in the middle. And there's some like, I don't know, kind of like a slick, smooth grime that's not coming off of these seats. And I could use the steamer and attack these pretty hard, but with the condition of that, I'm just going to get a new set. People part out these Wranglers up here all the time because they rust so badly. So I'm not worried about that. The carpets came out really, really nice though. Just hitting them with a pressure washer. And the back seat came out great as well. The floor back there is pretty good. And my camera doesn't want to focus. And then if we come around back here, I sprayed some penetrant into here. And now, this thing swings really nice. So I'm really happy with that. There you go. Again, interior is much, much cleaner. So next on the list is to remove these terrible bumpers so they can be put into scrap. They're not going to help me in any sort of a situation I would use them in their current condition. So they got to go so I can clean up what's behind it. I need to clean up nicely, and I'm going to paint over the entire frame. Since it's in good shape, I want to keep it that way. And then I got to get some oil spray stuff to go on the inside of the frame because these do like to rot from the inside out. But for now, let's get them bumpers off, and that might be about all. Oh, and we're going to pull these steps off because I hate those. So let's go ahead and start with the front ones here. They just got the factory T55s in here. See if this old girl's strong enough to get them out. If I can get the thing lined up. There we go. And then I'm just gonna cut the wires for this all out. There's no part of it that I want to keep. It's really strange how that's in there. Anyways, I'm gonna get these removed and get the side steps removed, and that'll probably about wrap up this video. Alright, this thing looks a lot better without those two bumpers on it. And look, the frame is actually in really, really good shape here. I got both front and rear off. I go over here to the rear. I think I'm going to pull this receiver off too. This thing is never going to see a trailer in the entirety of the rest of its life. So that does not need to be there. And whatever rear bumper I get is going to have recovery points built into it and keep it up a little bit higher. So that can go away. I can put it in my scrap pile for building receivers on other stuff, especially just the length of square tube that is. That's not going to be a today thing though, because that hardware is pretty crunchy. And the side step hardware is super round, and I don't want to start getting cutty today, so I'm going to leave those for now. So that's going to do it on the $1,000 Wrangler, for this video at least. This is a big improvement to the overall livability of this thing, and I'm really excited to start getting into the mods and things once we figure out the engine noise. I didn't get a chance to play a sound clip of it on the video today, but that's okay. There'll be plenty of opportunity once we get into the engine work on this thing. I'm also thinking I'm going to do a timing belt service on this because being the dual overhead cam, it looks like it's a timing belt cover instead of a timing chain cover. And I'm sure it hasn't been serviced in a while, and that's something that does need to happen being overhead cam because I'm confident it's going to be an interference engine. So we'll get to all that in the next video, and then the one after on the next video on this Jeep anyways, and then the one after that will be starting to put some mods on this thing, change out the soft top, do some other stuff. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you find this content interesting. I've got a bunch of other stuff that I'm going to be getting in here shortly and start knocking out some of the more fun projects. Been a lot of big, heavy to-do projects in here recently that have not been very fun, so I'm excited to get back into the fun stuff. So like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.